Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's edition of Playbill's Stream Stealers. I'm Mark Peikert, editor-in-chief of Playbill, and today's very special guest is Anthony Boyle, who Broadway fans know from Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And this is the first day that I've ever pronounced it correctly. I always say Cursed Child. Who is currently on HBO's limited series, The Plot Against America. So let's bring Anthony on.
How are you?
Anthony Boyle, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. Excited.
And you're in the UK, so what time is it there right now?
I am in Ireland. It is 9:30, so 9:30 for you guys over there.
It's bedtime.
It's nearly bedtime, yeah. I had a quick siesta, I had a little nap earlier on, so I'm feeling quite refreshed.
Yeah, a disco nap, just like in the old days when you were doing 8 a week.
Yeah, I've just got my body still in that sort of thing, you know. I sometimes just randomly scream in a high-pitched English voice as well. My body's just so accustomed to that.
So I loved Plot Against America so much, which is a strange thing to say about it because it is a show that is perhaps not meant to be enjoyed in that way, but I very much did. It's pretty dark. Luckily, you're the comedic relief here. You just, casually go undercover and fight fascism and plot assassinations.
Yeah. It was
comic second banana stuff.
Yeah, another fun role. It is. It's interesting. I saw a lot of people talk about it on Twitter, saying they didn't know whether to say that they enjoyed it or not because it's quite harrowing. I think it's more of an experience, and I think because of what's happening right now. Politically, even today, I mean, the stuff I've seen on Twitter is just incredible, insane. That the show just feels really fucking, unfortunately, current, and I think it may not be a case of enjoying it, but I think respecting the craft that goes into it and getting something out of that, you know.
It's shocking how prescient the 2004 Philip Roth novel was, because especially it's wild that I'm talking to you this week with everything that happened across America, even in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
But what about this? So sorry, for those of you who have not seen The Plot Against America, it is an alternate history of America if aviation hero, fascist sympathizer, Charles Lindbergh became president.
Yeah, Charlie L. Yeah.
Things don't go great.
Things don't go great, no.
No. So were you familiar with the novel before the script came your way?
I wasn't. No, I wasn't familiar with Philip Roth. I don't think we just don't. Well, I just didn't know about him growing up in Ireland. It wasn't a name that I came across. So the first thing I heard was David Simon's name attached, and that was me obviously interested because of The Wire and all of his miniseries, Generation Kill. And then with Ed Burns co-writing as well, I was like, Jesus Christ, I really want to be in this. And then I read the first app in between a matinee of Cursed Child. I was meant to be sleeping, and I just went, Jesus Christ, I feel like I could really play this role. Even though I wasn't Jewish or from Weequahic, New Jersey, there was just something I had a real affinity with. I think maybe his moral compass or something. I just really felt like he just wanted to do what was right at all costs, even if the difference between, being good and being liked, he wanted to be good. And I really thought that was cool.
So what was filming like once you got in and got immersed in is a very specific snapshot of America. Mm-hmm. So what was it like getting immersed in even in alternate history 40s America, there's still very much that style, that period style.
It was interesting. I mean, they had to sort of give me a crash course on what baseball was for certain scenes when I had this. I remember once we had a line change and I was asked to say something about an RBI double. And I mean, it was 20 minutes of me going, right, so he hits the ball and then he runs, but why is he running away for? Is it like tag? Does he have to hit him with the ball? There was just a lot of confusion and me absolutely blagging it and saying, he's pitching great. And then there was a lot of sort of scenes of us doing Passover and things. So I went and I experienced my first Passover and I just found it such like a beautiful, rich culture. And I'm sort of slightly obsessed with religion. I grew up Irish Catholic and going to the church every week. So I love all sort of religious iconography and stories and parables. And I'm not practicing or anything, but I just love it. So when I was knocking about with, there was a Hasidic rabbi on set, and called Eli, and I would just chat to him, and he would just, I think when you ask anyone about their culture, what if they care about it so much, when someone, an outsider, wants to learn and wants to know, they're so open and just want to tell you everything. And it was like that with him. He just chatted to me for hours, and I was just fascinated.
So this is a cast of like heavy hitters. So I just talked to Morgan Spector last week, who I'm obsessed with from New York theater, and Zoe Kazan and Winona Ryder. Are you someone who gets intimidated when you go on set with stars, or are you comfortable enough at this point in your career that you show up and you're like, yeah, I got this?
I mean, there was a moment when we done the read through where I suppose I had a bit of a mask, because I came in to do the audition in an American accent, and I met everyone in the cast, and I just stayed the accent on the whole way throughout filming 6 months. So I just felt there was a bit, it wasn't Anthony that was, oh Jesus Christ, that's Winona Ryder standing in front of me. I had the accent and I had the clothes, and I was just living in that world a bit. So there was a bit of a mask there. But there was a time in the first read through when it was John Turturro and Winona Ryder, and they were doing a scene, and I was sat there, and I was like, if I'd have said to myself 3 years ago, at drama school, you'd have been sat in a room with these two doing that, and then you were up next, I wouldn't have believed you. But it was cool, man. It was a really, really cool experience.
Where did this fall in with the Cursed Child run? Because it filmed in 2019, right?
Yeah, so it was. We started, the casting director, Alexa Fogel, came and saw me in the play. And then somehow saw me play a blonde wizard and asked me to do this. But I went and auditioned for her, I forget the months, but we ended up having a week off. So we finished the play, and then it was like a week sort of in between. So I didn't fly home, and then we started plot, which was good for me because I just love New York. I didn't want to leave. I wasn't ready to leave yet. So it was just perfect. I was living in Manhattan on 48th and 8th. You know that big Icon building?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I was living there when we were doing Potter, and then I moved to Williamsburg to film.
So that's why you were at Flaming Saddles all the time.
That's why I was at Flaming Saddles, yeah. Me and Sam Clement smashing the yeah.
So you had 1 week off between this mammoth theatrical thing and this huge HBO series. What did you do?
Went to Flaming Saddles every night.
So it was just a drunk binge for 1 week.
No, I just sort of just had a crash course. But I had to move flat, obviously, move apartment. So there was a lot of running around, and then I don't know. I didn't really have time to think, which is, I think, a good thing. I was just, okay, finish that, and I would do the next one, which just felt really, I don't know, it's good when you don't have too much time to think about it. You were just thrown into the belly of the beast.
I'm obsessed with this week of yours because you finish one thing, you're about to start a brand new job, which is stressful, and then you move, which is the most stressful thing of all.
Yeah, it was crazy. Luckily, I had my guy, Andrew Mimkin, who's my agent's assistant, and he helped me a lot. Shout out, Andrew, wherever he may be, New York, probably. But he helped me move, and he was very cool.
I mean, isn't it wild that right now this is the time when Tony season would be wrapping up and everybody would be going to multiple events a day?
Yeah.
And now it's closed, it's shuttered, it's intermission until it's safe to go back.
It's crazy, man. I mean, even the West End, like I had friends who were rehearsing shows that just didn't get to go up. And I think that's, it's a bit heartbreaking, getting the job, doing the rehearsals, and then, a day before the first preview, they couldn't go up. And you sort of, my heart does go out to them a bit.
I know. I think about 6 on Broadway that was supposed to open the night that they shut everything down.
Right. Okay, that happened the night of.
Yeah.
I saw the Conor McPherson music. What's that called? The Bob Dylan.
Girl from the North Country.
I saw that a week before it closed. So I was there for the premiere of HBO, and it was incredible. Every cast member in that show was insane, and I'd seen it in the Old Vic originally, but on Broadway, it was something else. It was one of the best musicals, one of the best plays I've seen. I thought everyone in it was just outstanding. I hope it comes back.
what Mare Winningham can do on stage is constantly shocking to me in the best way possible.
Yeah, I just love that. I just thought everyone was insane.
Talking about Tonys, what is your memory of the Tonys from 2018, where you were a nominee?
Crazy, man. My memory of the Tonys is like sitting in a room full of people like Denzel Washington, and then everyone being, quite, oh my God, we're nominated for Tony, and then me and Ashley Park just trying to make each other laugh from across the room. She was my saving grace during all that Tony stuff, because it can be so intense, and it's very serious, and obviously, but Ashley Park was like a saving grace during that. She was a lot of fun.
No, it's wild because there's so many voices during the Tony season.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard, even for like those of us reporting on it, it's very hard to stay focused on this is a celebration. We're supposed to be having fun. We're supposed to be rooting for the community and all of that stuff. So I'm glad that you found moments of joy during the Tony.
It's because I'd done it for the Olivier's the year previous, and it was like, oh, hello, here's a cucumber sandwich and a cup of tea. And I was like, okay, all right, that was it. It was one afternoon, and I just assumed that was going to happen in New York, but it was like a fucking Super Bowl every day. It was kind of crazy.
It really is. I mean, my favorite part of it always is they do the nominations on a Tuesday, and then the press day is the Wednesday before two-show day.
Yeah. That was the crazy thing, trying to balance the shows and your energy, and then also doing interviews and trying to sound half intelligent.
Do you miss doing Broadway all the time? Do you miss having?
I do love it. It was just a singular experience in my life, and I'd love to go back. It was just really, really special. I think Broadway is just in a league of its own. It's just a complete theater mecca. It's an incredible place. I'd love to go back. That thrill, that buzz of just being around those 40s, and just the culture around there is just, I love it, man. I really do.
I mean, well, until they get Flaming Saddles in Ireland, you
need a Flaming Saddles in West Belfast tomorrow, or so help me God.
Well, I have to ask. It's my favorite question right now because I am obsessed with TV. That's why I worked at Playbill. What are you watching during quarantine?
So I just watched Unorthodox. Did you see that?
I just watched it this weekend. Yeah.
So good, man. I love that lead girl. She's incredible.
Oh, the moment when she auditions, I won't give it away, but the moment where she auditions in the last episode.
So good.
Where did that come from?
I know. Unreal. I love that. I just finished Succession yesterday. Obsessed with that, man. That was so good. I love the writing and every actor in that. And then I'm watching a lot of Gogglebox.
Okay.
You guys have Gogglebox? So it's in the UK, but it's basically just normal people sat at home watching the TV. So like the week's event, but there's a camera watching them. They know, and it's just normal people dipping biscuits in tea. And it sounds so boring, but it's the most entertaining program. If anyone's watching from America, Gogglebox, best moments, unbelievable.
I'm riveted by this.
It's amazing. It's the future of TV. You just watch them.
Other people watch TV.
The TV that you've watched that week, but they're all different. It's all different people from all over the UK, and it's unreal, man. It's so good.
I want this in my life. I'm going to end this interview and look it up right now and figure out a way to bootleg it.
Yeah, you can YouTube it. What are you watching?
So I just finished rewatching Lovesick, which used to be Scrotal Recall, the Tom Edge series with Johnny Flynn and Luke Ings. Fantastic. It was like my third rewatch. I did Unorthodox over the weekend. I just did the morning show for the first time.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And all the reviews were like, oh, it takes a while to get started. And so I put it off. And then once I started it, I did not want to stop.
Yeah.
And that's always thrilling.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have today, Anthony Boyle.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me, Mark. You have to get into bed. It's so late.
Yeah, 9:30, 9:45 now.
I'm so sorry. What a pleasure to have you. I'm so glad that after all these years we got to connect on TV instead of your Tony-nominated role.
Hey, man, it's good in the real world. Thanks very much for having me, bud.
Of course, anytime. And thank you all for tuning in. Tune in on Monday for the next installment.